was ignored, he was sabotaged, he was outright threatened for telling the truth about what he found. We want to know more about that, who threatened him and why. And to answer those questions, Charles Mccullough joins us tonight on our set. Mr. Mccullough, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Tucker.
So among the people who came down on you for exposing what you found on Hillary's email server was Senator Dianne Feinstein of California.
Sure.
She was asked today about that by a reporter walking through the Congress, and she responded, "Not that I know of, and I don't remember." Okay. Applying pressure to you in response to what you found. How do you respond to that?
Well, she certainly was one of the primary drafters on a letter we received back in March of 2016 that was signed by 7 Democrats, I believe, that accused us of ironically politicizing the matter when we were the ones kind of being very strict about just firing balls straight down the middle with this and shooting straight as it was. But now, her main concern, she and I talked on the telephone about this. I had a secure telephone conversation with her when this first happened, and her main concern was asking me whether or not the documents were marked. And I tried to explain over and over again, as I did then for the next year and a half, that it didn't really matter what was marked, that no, none of them were really marked, other than 3. But that didn't seem to get
through. Were marked classified.
Were marked classified, that's right.
Right, so this is what, and I should say, you served for decades non-politically in government. You were an FBI agent. You worked at NSA for 10 years. You had the highest possible clearances, so it's not like you were some appointee hack. No. But you often hear defenders of Secretary Clinton say, well, there were just 3 documents marked classified. That's not a big deal. Yeah,
this is maddening, frankly. It doesn't matter whether or not it's absolutely irrelevant whether or not something is marked classified.
Right.
It's the character of the information. We have an intelligence community with very good men and women who collect intelligence, and that information gets disseminated. And even if the information isn't marked properly when it's disseminated, it's still classified. What matters is the information, not the marking on it.
Right, and that's a legal definition. What matters legally.
Absolutely.
Right? So the intelligence agencies discovered that some information, classified information they had gathered, was on her unsecured server. What was their response to that?
Well, there was from minute number 1. I actually, when this happened, we tried to coordinate with the State Department. We tried to coordinate with everybody on the Hill. And initially we thought maybe we can sort of corral this in and mitigate whatever damage had occurred. But literally from minute number 1, whether it was certain officials at the State Department or whether it was the Clinton campaign or whether it was certain folks on the Hill, it was nothing but contention and adversarial posture and fighting. It literally was you're making much ado about nothing. This is overblown.
You were acting as the Inspector General. You're supposed to have some independence here. Again, you're a career government employee and a former FBI agent. Why would the Clinton campaign have anything to do with this conversation?
They shouldn't have. They shouldn't have. There was... I'm well aware there was strategic coordination between the campaign, the State Department, certain officials in the State Department, certain law firms in town, and people on Capitol Hill. And I think that bore itself out in the Podesta emails.
I think that's right, but the basic question, is it legal for a government agency to coordinate with a political campaign?
Well, there are rules and authorities that apply, and people have been looking at those. But I'm not aware. I've been gone out of the government since last March, so I'm not aware that anything was ever pursued. As an IG, my job was to bring whistleblowers to the Hill, get them there and protect them, put a bubble around them, make sure they can tell their story. And here I'm doing now what I've done for all these years. I'm having to go myself to the Hill. I expected to be embraced and protected, and let's do this, let's get through this. And I didn't get that. I recall a conversation I had with a staff director on the Hill on one account where he chided me for not considering the political consequences of what I was doing. And I said, I'm an inspector general. That's my job, is not to consider the political consequences. It was one of the staff directors for one of the committees on the Hill that we worked with a lot. I don't want to name his name right now. He's no longer there, as a matter of fact.
But political considerations, by definition, should have no bearing on this, correct?
Absolutely not. Not for an IG. As an IG, you're not a D, you're not an R, you're an I. You're an IG. Those are the letters that matter for you. And so, obviously, what they resorted to was, okay, this guy's just a pawn of the right. He's a shill of the right, and attack the messenger, and that's what happened.
So just to sum up, to make sure I have this absolutely clear, you, in effect, heard complaints from the intelligence agencies that their information was residing on an unsecured server. They were upset about it. You bring these concerns to the Congress, and you're dismissed as a right-wing plant.
Absolutely. That's a good point. I mean, so the agencies were quite unhappy about what was going on. They were not happy that their information was not protected the way it should have been. This was seen as cavalier. Look, when we heard about this to begin with, that there was an unsecured server, frankly, we looked at each other and said, "Who does that? What rules even apply to that?"
Who does that?
And so, and then Senator Burr sent a letter over asking us to take a look at it, and we did with the State Department IG.
It was a scandal then. It's a scandal now, I think. Mr. Mccullough, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Tom. Very much. Appreciate it.
We're joined now by Fox senior political analyst Brit Hume. Brit, I don't know if you just heard that, but now that the passions of the campaign have cooled, it's over, and we can look at this in the clear light of post-election America. That seems like the campaign politicizing what should be a completely non-political process of assessing whether information is secure. And that seems like a scandal to me.
It sounds for all the world, Tucker, as if this man was simply doing what it was his job to do, which is to bring this sort of information forward and indeed to take it to Congress. He did it for other whistleblowers, as he described it. He was doing it on his own in this case, expecting, as he, I guess, naively did, that he was going to get a friendly, warm reception with people eager to hear about this abuse, this gross mishandling of classified information, as he describes it. And you've got these political actors on the Hill trying to shut him down and telling him he should be concerned about the political implications. That is obviously howlingly improper. And, you know, it plays back into this question of, all right, Hillary Clinton is now gone. She's basically, although she's, you know, we're still hearing from her and she's writing books and giving interviews and saying things, it's pretty clear that she's not going to be the president and that her public life is largely over. But what about these other actors in the drama on Capitol Hill and elsewhere who were trying to basically suppress this? It seems to me that there's some accountability is required there, and that's probably where